Okay, so this is the pattern that we worked on Thursday. This is it all the way through from this, just to see so you can see hear the contour. So. The difference is that the other pattern moved in the direction of the general scale. So the scale's going like this. In fact, just zoom in now. So the scale, I'm not going to pick, I'm showing you this hand. So the scale's moving in an ascending direction, like that, right? And the pattern, so the pattern, the original pattern, in the last two videos, it went in the same direction and it fell back. So the ascent is this through the scale, and the pattern goes in the same direction, falls back, same direction, falls back, same direction. So they're both moving. Now the pattern we're going to do now, and you stay close to this, and then we'll move back. The ascent is still that way, but each pattern moves the opposite direction. So then we step up and we move back again and revert. So, and then we step up, but then we move back and come back to where we started from. You might find that more confusing, more easy. I think it's slightly more confusing. One of the reasons why I decided to do video first for the opposite pattern. So if you pull back to full length now. Now, obviously the problem is I've just thrown this note in and you think, well, where's this note coming from to start? Because I have to descend out of home, so I've got to go to the next note in the next octave of the pentatonic going down that way. I'll talk about the reason why that's a dangerous thing. I know I can play it because these two notes are in the pentatonic. This is the start of a new octave or the end of an old octave, whichever is home here, and there's a home here. So this is the previous note before you get to home in this octave. So there's got to be a note there, the previous note before you get to home. It's like, and if that doesn't make sense, this is an E, this is an E. I play that note, which is a C sharp. So I can obviously play that note. It's got to be part of the pentatonic run across the pentatonic. You can think of the scale in octaves, but it's like a spectrum from the lowest possible note you can play for that scale on your instrument to the highest possible note, all chopped up into octaves. Hopefully that makes sense. So we have number one. You've got to the algorithm or the rule to play the pattern is to play your note of the scale, drop to the previous note, and then come back to where you were from. Then you go to the next note in the scale, drop to the previous note, and then go back to where you started from. Then you go play the note. Then you play the next note, drop, back again, note, drop, previous note, back again, ascend, previous note, back again, and then ascend, and you end up home. So those are actions. I wouldn't recommend that you sit and fathom that out with your language brain, because I have to explain it as language, and then you intake it in as language. But the language is there to teach your finger the actions to do the pattern. But until your fingers can do the pattern, they're not going to. The pattern there's a pattern for each stage. No, that's the one. So. Now that's me playing it. That's my fingers can do the action, but I'm separating each action, each stage of the scale, and your thinking time between those stages is going to be longer. What you find is as you do it, you're thinking, what's next? Oh yeah, what's next? That's the stage you have to go through because you're teaching your finger the actions. When you can start chaining one or two together and go, and then you go, what's next? Oh. You start to get the contour, and then you might go, sorry. And then so the thing is it's not just a task to learn each individual action. That's a big task. Then another big task is keep playing it till it flows together. Okay, and then the same job, you can either split, whichever you prefer to do, one octave till you can do that, or do the whole 2 octaves. It's up to you. But remember, you always stop off at twice on home. So. Okay. Coming close, and we'll just get close. So just so you can see it up. So remember, you've got to talk yourself through the action. Where next? Where next? High, low, high, yeah, and so on. Then once the actions start to come together, you can start to try and put 2 together, or as many as you can manage till you break down. When you break down, think, take a breather. And then, obviously work across both, either in individual octaves or work across both together. So I'll play it very slowly across both octaves. Okay, so notice I'm still on that. This meant turning my hand there to help me reach. So if you pull out, then there's essentially the problem I had on Thursday, and the reason why I've done the other one is you've got to be careful that you always end on home, right? Which is okay. Which is okay going up, but coming down, you're going to do, this is the pattern. I'm just going to play, I'm not going to go into tremendous detail now, because the process by which you do a reversal, I went into a lot of detail in the last one. So, but essentially, that's the one we did. That's the same direction, isn't it? You know what I did last time? I did that one. That's the one I did, isn't it? That's the one I did on the previous video.
Didn't go up.
I didn't. So it's like, so this is a bit. I needed my cameraman to verify that there, because I've done this in a different. It's not my instinct, but I think it makes more sense. If you remember, on the descent in the previous video, we went with the direction. So we're going down, so we went down, and then down, and reversal. But in a way, this, when we go up, the one we're doing now, I've just done the musical one there, but I'll tell you about it. Now, if in a way, the reversal of that is the one I've already done, because it's down, but because I've changed them in a different. I've taken the sub pattern and the direction of the sub pattern. I've locked that to the direction of the main scale, which is not the way it's normally done. But I just think it's more logical. So actually, this reversal is going against the descent. So we're descending this way. So the reversal is to go against the descent, which means we've got to bring this pattern in. We've got to bring this note in, right? Which is the next note in the scale. That's not going to cause any problems. Just take my word for it. There's the up home and the second note, home and the second note, and you can see here. That's it. So you can do that all by ear. So the descending pattern goes against. The sub pattern goes against the descent, so it goes up. And then and we can end there, or we can end it. We can go. can't do that. You can't do that. So here again. So it's. This is the spelling of it. Sorry. Ah. And then it. That's real. I must have done something weird there. Let's hear it again. That's what it should have been. And then. Just stopping off. As soon as you hit home, stop. And that's, so you've got, within those, the previous two the videos with the other pattern and these two patterns, these four patterns, you've got all the permutations of these kind of sub pattern. I don't know if that makes any sense. The reason there's a danger is again, if you end up here, it's something I haven't told you yet, but it's to do with the minor pentatonic, because this note will change the nature of the scale. If you play, right, it colours your ear in a way that I don't like, and I'm not going to go into any more detail than that. Just trust me, because until I start talking about the minor pentatonic, it's no point me making this any longer than necessary. So,
close up downward.
Yeah. So if you do a close up now, we'll do a downward on the close up so you can see it. So by the time you get to this stage, you're going to want to be working with the contour. I'll do it as a spelling first, and then I'll do the contour. So spelling. I did it wrong again there, didn't I? Yeah, I should have stopped there. Okay, I can use this as an opportunity actually to talk about the musicality of it. So. Used all different fingers there, I realise. But just don't watch the fingers, just watch the... If you want to really see the fingering, I'll do finger 1 and 3. So it's... It's easy for me to break that pattern but it's, as you can see, when I do it right, the simplest one is to just stop the minute you hit home, and then going down here. But that stops short like that we did before. So we give you a couple of solutions for making it more musical. And what I mean by making it more musical is just stopping it in a time that feels right. There's a right time and a wrong time to stop, because you want to come to rest as opposed to feeling unbalanced. When you stop short, it feels slightly unbalanced. So we go. What we can do is we go. That sounds okay to me. I think that one's okay. I'll play it as a faster flow. That's not a good one. That's not a good one. Yeah. That's what it should be, yeah. So slowly. I'll play it fast and I'll slow it down. That's 1. Which only actually adds an extra note there. I see that before we stopped short. Stopped as soon as we hit home. When I'm playing at this speed, I use that thing I've said a couple of times, which is don't watch the fingers, just watch the area and watch home so that you can predict that I don't go past home. Okay? But I can also go up, I can add one of them. After I've hit home, I can add another and still end on home. See, and that makes it musical because it feels more resolved. Now I'll do the spellings for that. You know the stop short. You know the one that stops as soon as you hit home because it's the previous video. So the slower one is. And obviously the same contour going down. I'd stretch then. That little movement there. Now very slow, just so you can see it's slow, and then I'll pull one back and show you it from distance. So it's, and then okay, and that's basically it. Just come back and just do it fast. There was another musical one, but I'm not going to go in. I think it went past it. Oh yeah, yeah. Slowly. And down. So the last one went that's basically the end of the video. I'm just going to try and throw an extra bonus thing in here, which is another way of ending it musically, which I think goes. No, it wasn't it. That was a fancy one, too fancy.
Play it.
That was it, yeah. You can go, so again, to get a double note finish, you can stick, instead of going bo da bo, you can go ba bo ba bo. So you can go, I'll go from the top. Clear. Is that the right one? Yeah. And instead of going, it's, and then the other one is. Yeah, you might say I prefer that one, and it's easy to play. I don't know, but the point is that I couldn't play it, but my cameraman sang it, and once he sings it, my fingers will do it because my fingers are connected straight to my ear. I don't think, oh, I've got to do this, or as my last thing, or my ear hears it and my fingers just execute it because I've done it so many times, and that's kind of where you're aiming at in the very long run. Anyway, I'll do more about the musicality of it, and I'll do the other pattern next week, and bring other people in, get the people that weren't here last week. We'll try and sort that out for them as well. Anyway, that's way too long. Thank you.